time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, it is the PJ Show on this Monday, the Monday after regional play, and the season concludes for the Pirates. Thanks for being with us. Welcome into the program. Nice to have you along. It was a state championship weekend in the state of North Carolina as well. All right, Mike Mullis is going to be with us coming up later on I think next segment, actually. So that'll be going on there. Lots to get to out of the weekend. We'll talk ECU. We got a lot of audio to run through here. Let me give some praise to some folks. Let me thank our crew here at Inner Banks Media. The one and only Philip the Ref Pilkington, also Isaac Morales, William Glover, also Dom Kasolki, and, of course, everybody else, Dylan McKay, Dan Miller, everybody. Because to be able to kind of pull off the network operation is no easy task. When Playfly and ECU Sports Properties took over, there was no infrastructure like there was with the previous rights holder, and so the infrastructure had to be created so you could distribute games to affiliates across the Fruited Plain and across the state, but you know what I'm saying. And then, obviously, to run the app. The app was my friend this weekend. Honesty compels me to report that I listened to the majority of the regional, and what a job by Dylan Johnson and our guy Mike Mullis, who's going to be with us coming up. You could keep up with what was going on with penetrating insight from my guy Mullis. So wanted to thank that. Also, it was great to meet Nate Logan and also see Croft Massey again. They were up in Holly Springs broadcasting the Rose games. We had two of them on 94.3 and then one on 103.7. I got to work the state championship 1A and 3A series with Coach Lynn Hartzell for the NFHS network. So 6 baseball games in a 25-hour span for me over the weekend, and a little R&R time down at the Working Man's Beach in the aftermath of that and the busy sports broadcast season, but the train rolls on here. A couple things, again, before we get to ECU baseball, and there's a lot to talk about there. Another tough weekend for teams in the eastern part of the state. Diamond Sports, Rose, had this amazing and improbable win on Friday night where they were down 4-1 going into the 5th inning, scored a couple of runs, had a couple on in scoring position. At least, I can't remember if second or first. I don't have my book in front of me, or if they were indeed first and second, or second and third. But a strikeout, and then the old strike him out, throw him out, but the throw went to the outfield, the tying run scored, and then the return throw led to the winning run scoring. And it's one of the most stunning things I've ever seen in my life in covering sports for all these years. So Rose won that, had their chances, got shut out a couple of times in the games against the North Lincoln Knights. This is what our friend, the legendary RV, had to say to 9 on Your Side Sports after.
We hit it hard a lot of times, and it's crazy. As much as each team hit the ball, that a swinging bunt was a run that counted. So we just couldn't keep anything going. But, we played hard. We did what we did. We came back. It was a great weekend for us. We just didn't score a run.
Class Act RV is with 1,038 wins, I think the total is. Man. D.H. Conley swept in the softball, although the games were close. And then you had North Lenoir got swept. That really wasn't that close. South Lenoir, not that close. Perquimans softball was swept, and then Perquimans baseball lost in 3 games to the defending state champ. Congrats to Croatan lacrosse. Boys lacrosse won a state championship. Pilk, I know you're following this. Tommy Paul, and he and one other American are the first American men to reach the quarters of the French since Agassi did it in 2003. And Paul will play again tomorrow at Roland Garros on the clay. He likes the clay. Tommy Paul from Greenville plays well on the clay.
He does, and it's the slowest of all surfaces. Not a lot of buoyancy on him. It's something that usually your mainland European guys like. The Spaniards are always really good on it, but it's good to see an American have success on the clay. Obviously, we probably had more success on the hard courts since the retiring of Agassi and Roddick. That's where most of it has been. Isner did make one run at Wimbledon back in 2018.
Yeah.
I think got to the semis, if I remember correctly, after beating Federer in a marathon 5-setter in the quarters. But yeah, man, it's been a fun Wimbledon or French Open. It's been tough to keep up with all the Pirate baseball and baseball around the country and softball, but I've been doing everything I can to keep up with it.
Tommy Paul, of course, grew up in Greenville. Scotty Scheffler celebrating his second consecutive win at the Memorial in Muirfield Village in Dublin, Ohio. Since, I think, May 2nd, Scotty Scheffler's won 3 tournaments. Pilk, your Colorado Rockies have won 3 games.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm glad when I'm in town this weekend. I'm way too busy to be catching a game. I don't even know if they're at home this coming up weekend, but we got too much stuff going on. So
yeah. All right, Ryan Blaney getting a win at the Cracker Barrel 400 Sunday. They'll now go to Michigan to race next Sunday. That was in Nashville, right? Blaney winning the race. Yeah. He got a guitar, so good for him. NBA finals, rather, are set. Indiana, Oklahoma. There was a time that this would have been curtains for the NBA. This would have been the worst thing that could have happened to the NBA. Because you're talking 2 small market teams. But, some interesting things. They really are looking at media now and media rights as a rolling 5-year average. And I do believe that the NBA is going to get a little bit of a shot in the arm coming up, because the best show covering the NBA is Inside the NBA, and it moves to ESPN and ABC, although the Turner people will still be producing it, and it'll still have those sensibilities, one would think. And then I think NBC is going to be a shot in the arm, but this stands to be probably, although I think I would like to see Oklahoma City play, because I think they're that interesting of a team and a young team. We'll see. The Stanley Cup final set, Florida and Edmonton, so a bi-country situation. All right, let's get to the baseball. One of the just fantastic games yesterday. I don't think you can say enough about the job that Bradley Zayak did. Do we have Coach talking about Zayak in any of our cuts, Pilk? If not, I've got a cut
one where he kind of recaps the entire
specifically.
weekend. It's a little lengthy. He goes into Zayak and then just kind of praises all the players for the weekend as a whole. So cut 9.
Okay, yeah, let's
opens
play
with
that
Zayak.
then. Let's play cut 9, because he talked about Zayak, who was outstanding.
Well, we didn't have a lot left, as you guys know. If you told me he was going to go out there and throw 7 in the third and give up 1 run, I'd have said, damn, man, we'll take our chances with that for sure. But Eichhoff just kept us off balance, and, we faced him early in the year. But when you've played a good Florida team, earlier in the day, and with this group, pretty much everybody's got something going on with them. Obviously, Riley's got a lot going on with him, but, Walker having to catch both games, and, I just feel like Burris was, run down at the end of the day. I tell you what, man, those freshmen really played well. I mean, AP played great today. Peltier, Braden played great all year. Irby had an unbelievable last couple weeks, man. I mean, he was awesome. Just proud of the guys, man. I told him this morning, 2 weeks ago on that Sunday after we played like garbage on Friday and Saturday at South Florida, nobody in the country thought that we had a chance of winning the conference tournament. And the group came together and played really good baseball for 2 weeks. And, when you put yourself in that situation, obviously it's tough to come on the road and win. You got to beat Florida twice. And last night got out of hand. I mean, we knew we needed to try to keep it there. So I went to Ethan Young so early. But Coastal was better than us this year, and they deserve to move on. And Kevin's done a great job, as well as coaching staff. I mean, really good on the mound. They're really good defensively, and they're good offensively. So they can beat you a lot of different ways. So hats off to them.
Yeah, Pirates certainly had their chances. There's going to be a little bit of, I don't know, would you call it complaining in the top of the eighth, armchair quarterbacking that maybe you should have tried to, with Dixon up, bunt the guy over. But, he's been he's been your most prolific home run hitter this year and has been swinging a hot bat. So let him swing away. No problem with that. Obviously, what Zayak did was nothing short of amazing. And I think you got to look at also Austin Irby's weekend, which was unreal. We'll get more analysis and the breakdown of everything from Mike Mullis. I do want to hear from some of the players. We need to get to Mully in a few minutes, but I do want to kind of hit on here because we'll talk to Mike about this also. So, Pilk, pull yourself up for this because I want to see you and obviously chime in. There's obviously the Kevin O'Sullivan thing. So they moved the times of the game. One other thing I'm going to say during the Rose game, that game got to 3 innings, and then we had a weather delay in the middle of it. A lightning and then rain. It was 59 minutes, and it got us off schedule, Saturday night. But, I mean, what a disruption. And then, the two young pitchers stayed out there. The position of the Simmons kid for Rose came back out and pitched and was outstanding and deserved a better fate than he got. But, I say this to say, what happens in spring sports? Weather.
It rains.
And we were at a place with all turf. So we were able to get out there pretty much quickly compared to, a normal field that has to bring the tarp out, et cetera. I have no issue personally with the fact that they made adjustments to the schedule in Conway. I don't. I think it's reasonable, made sense, and they pushed the game back an hour. And so I guess Kevin O'Sullivan, the Florida coach, who's certainly got his own range of issues, just go to Google or a message board, and you'll see he's been involved in a few things. But he's won a national championship. Now, Mark Scalf, Coach O was not there this weekend because Coach O is a site administrator or director. He was down in Athens. Mark Scalf, who was the longtime Wilmington coach, was the NCAA administrator for Conway. Mark Scalf you will not find a better human being, a finer gentleman, a classier individual than Coach Scalf. Great man. Really good guy. And for this O'Sullivan guy to be in his face and to be in the face of the administration and all this. Now, I found the source of the video of this. There's some people who like to rip the video and slap their logo on it and claim they got it. But that's not how this works. There was actually other people on site that actually got I was trying to crack you there a little bit, Pilk, on that. I knew you would appreciate.
Yeah.
You would appreciate. By the way, I got a bunch of texts about the same thing at the high school thing. What is so-and-so and so-and-so doing on the field? I don't know. I don't control these things. There are people in this world that think it's cool to go hang out at a sporting event and not get paid and get in for free. I mean, if I wanted to go to an event, a concert or a sporting event as a fan, as a partisan, I'd pay money and I'd go. Or if somebody hooked me up with tickets, I'd be happy to take them. But I never have once because I feel very uneasy about this.
Off-the-shoulder tickets are your number one thing, Patrick.
No. If somebody's giving me off-the-shoulder tickets, I'm happy to take them. You did you not hear that part of it?
I heard that, but you said you'd be happy to pay before that. No, you just.
Well, if I really wanted to go to something, I'd be happy to pay. Yeah, I would. But here's the thing: you give me the choice to go to the beach or go to something, I'm going to the beach.
Fair enough.
I'm not gonna. It takes a lot. That's why the off-the-shoulder tickets come into play.
If you
almost have to have those to get.
I got a question, Patrick. If you have to pay for the tickets, but it's a beach volleyball match on the beach,
I'd go.
You paying? All right.
My point is this: never have I ever used the credentials to just go and fanboy.
Yeah.
But claim I was an insider while I was fanboying. Anyway, I digress. I'm getting off track here. So the O'Sullivan thing, he got in the face of Scalf. He said something to the Pirate players, I guess. I don't understand what that was about. Maybe Mully has some insight. And then apparently there's video that has surfaced. Again, this is not video that was originally taken where a lot of you have seen it and decided you wanted to send it to me. No. This is video that was ripped from an original source. A logo of somebody else was slapped on it, and that's for the originator of the source to work out. You should always credit the originator of the source. It's fine to repost. It's fine to retweet. It's fine to do all that, but just give credit to where credit's due. Anyway, I'm off that soapbox. I can't impose just ethics 101 on, less than ethical practices. I just can't do it. I'm not here to police it. I'm not here to police it. I'm not even really here to talk about it.
You're just here to.
I'm the vessel to let you people know that this was not original video where some of you have seen it. Yeah, I'm just spitting. No, it's all facts. He's got his finger in the face of a couple of other people. This guy Kevin O'Sullivan. So to his credit, Brian Bailey, and look, I'll give credit where credit's due. Asked O'Sullivan what happened before the game. And this is what O'Sullivan had to say. It's the last cut on the vast soundbite roster today. Hit it.
Coach, could you address the situation before the game?
I don't address that right now.
Nothing there, apology or anything like that?
I handled it properly.
You handled
it? At the end of the game, yes.
So he is trying to say I guess he apologized after the game, but he did not handle it properly. Now, look, again, I will give credit where credit is due, even though others do not and have not given credit to me for breaking numerous stories over the years. Again, I can run off this another time, but
it sounds like a PJ show after dark topic.
Yeah, it does. But you've heard me talk about it. But Brian Bailey asked the right questions there. Credit to Brian. Credit to Brian.
Followed up well. He did.
And I have no problem with him doing it. And so. We talked to Coach Schnall before the series. I did the series with Mike Mullis on TV with Coastal. And I enjoyed Kevin Schnall. I thought he was, he's a direct to the point guy. And I think his perspective has changed now that he's a head coach. When you're the head man, there's a lot more you're dealing with than if you're an assistant, even if you're a top assistant. And so Schnall's perspective, I think, on a lot of things, and I found him to be really insightful, engaging, honest about his team when we talked to him. Anyway, Coach Schnall said this after the game, and I thought this was fantastic because the biggest jerk in this whole weekend was O'Sullivan, followed by Corbin at Vanderbilt. Did you see that cut too?
I was watching that. Yeah.
I mean, what a jerk he is too. I'm kind of glad they got beat, and I'm glad Florida got beat. All right, let's play the Coach Schnall thing. Let me find my Go Gator here really quick.
Go Gator.
Got beat. Let's hear from Coach Schnall, who I thought addressed this candidly, beautifully. What a great statement he makes here from Coastal Carolina.
One last thing I have is I have to say this, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I believe in standing up for what's right, and what transpired this morning on our field. Another coach disrespected our associate AD, who works as hard as anybody in our entire program. He disrespected our field crew, who are the salt of the earth. These guys would do anything for our program. It's not okay. And this needs to be brought up. Absolutely disrespectful. As a coach, it's our job to mentor young kids. And the way he treated the 2 site reps, the way he treated our associate AD, the way he treated our field crew is absolutely unacceptable. And that's what I'm most disappointed about. This is a national champion coach who thinks he can come in here and try to bully people around. Disappointed. Disappointed, somebody that a lot of coaches look up to. For him to act that way, really disappointed. He disrespected a Hall of Fame coach who's the site rep here. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, talking about Mark Scalf there, the Wilmington coach who was the site rep. So that's, look, guy acted like a complete and utter horse's ass. And whether he'll face any repercussions at Florida, I mean, just, you know, I don't want to get too far off a ledge here, but I mean, when you look at what goes on at Florida, it was chaos under Urban Meyer with what was going on there in spite of Tebow. There's a lot of allegations against the basketball head coach that just won a national title, which I think have been since dispelled, but still, it seemed like they were awfully conveniently dispelled. And there's an assistant that had come under some fire, too, on basketball. This isn't exactly the bastion of squeaky clean in Florida. And we know that perhaps Florida has done some reaching out to, well, there's been accusations that in the brave new world we're in, Florida has conducted itself in a way that you wouldn't want, well, let's just say coaches don't appreciate it.
Go Gator.
So the fact that this guy's out of control and he was the 10th place team in the SEC. It's not like you won the thing. But I thought his behavior was embarrassing, and again, kudos to having him asked about it in the post game, as he should have been. All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back. We'll break down the matchup. We'll break down the weekend. We will go and look ahead to what the future is going to look like for the baseball team next year. It is the Patrick Johnson Show. You're with us here on 94.3 The Game, online at 943thegame.com, and on the IBX Media app.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds, or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
We're back to the show.
I missed you. We all missed you. Did you miss him?
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Great P-Man here with you. Let's go to the phones and welcome in Mike Mullis to the PJ Show. Mully, fantastic job this weekend. I listened to the vast majority of the coverage. That's how I consume the games. And Dylan did a great job, but you added a lot to that. So fantastic work this weekend. And you know how I enjoy working with you when we're on television. So great work there, Mike Mullis. Down in Dirty Myrtle.
Buddy, I appreciate the kind words, and it's man, it's a whole lot easier when you're surrounded with good people that know what they're doing, and all I got to do is talk about baseball.
Well, there you are. You had a chance to take in for the second straight year as the radio analyst, the regional. Hell of a game yesterday. Probably one of the better games, and I think you said it very, very well. When's the last time we saw a game go in college baseball scoreless to the eighth inning?
I don't know that I've seen one. In a 1-0 baseball game that took less than 3 hours to play, it was a thing of beauty and maybe one of the best games played all year. Clean game, no errors. Both teams pitched it well. Just a super competitive baseball game. It was a privilege to be a part of.
Let me ask you about Bradley Zayac, and this will lead into something I do want to talk about. But obviously, well, let's just start with the Zayac performance. I think, he realized, hey, I'm kind of the firewall in this thing. So he just went out and was aggressive, worked hard, worked aggressively, worked strong, and looked like a completely different pitcher. And frankly, the pitcher I think he could be.
Yeah, there's freedom in the reduction of numbers, and that kind of it's a little bit counterintuitive. But to your point, and the term firewall is a great one. Zayac's out there pitching, knowing, okay, there's really nowhere else to go from me. We got some guys back there, but we're gonna have to recycle some arms and maybe have to throw some guys that haven't thrown as much. And so this is my coming out party is I think the way he kind of took it, and he knew that there was going to be some flexibility in how he was managed. If he were to give up a run or two, they were going to have to roll with him for a certain length either way, just because of the depletion of the bullpen. And and let's not forget, on the other side of this thing is Riley Eichhoff, who had incredible numbers, had a great season, is an outstanding pitcher in his own right. So you also knew if you're Cliff Godwin, like, hey, we can't give up. Like, we probably can't spot Coastal any more than like 2 or 3 runs. It's going to be very difficult, to score much more than that off of Riley Eichhoff. But Bradley Zayac's our guy, and Zayac took the nod and went with it. And the body language was great. Just the way he carried himself, and a little bit of a scare there in like the 4th. There's his warm-ups. He plants and kind of comes up a little bit gimpy, and we were very fearful that he had rolled an ankle or strained a calf or something lower leg, but he battled through it and gave the Pirates everything he could.
I had somebody say to me that a performance that Coastal's putting forth, Murray State, Wright State, even East Carolina, they're just auditioning for the bigger programs. Go as far as you want to go with this to maybe dispel a little bit of how this goes. Just because somebody has a big game doesn't mean that they're looking to jump in the portal or that somebody's necessarily contacting them to jump in the portal. It happens. It happens. I mean, let's not kid ourselves, but it's not like that is it's a little bit of the exception of the rule as I understand it, but I'll let you, again, go as far as you want to with explaining that.
Yeah. And so much of this is just my experience, and everybody's experience can be somewhat different. But my experience in the world of the portal and the NIL as we know it right now is, especially as it relates to baseball. Again, baseball is a very different sport than football or basketball. But are there the scenarios where a kid is being pilfered from another lower level program by a coach randomly, like a random, hey, I watched Patrick Johnson pitch, and I'm a coach, and I'm gonna see if I can find Patrick on social media, and I'm gonna, as the kids say, I'm gonna slide into his DMs and see if I can sway him into coming to my program. Does that happen? I guess I feel like it's more. That's a small percentage of how the transfers happen. The typical transfer is going to happen because the player at some point has expressed to somebody in their baseball circle, i.e. a travel ball coach, a high school coach, a trainer, somebody that they're around that may have some connection and has had an impact on that young person's life, and they're going to express to them that, man, I don't know that this is where I want to be, or even to the standpoint of being as aggressive as saying, I wonder if I could get some money if I go somewhere else. In other words, it typically is predicated on the player expressing interest in making the move. And at that point, then it may be that relationship says, hey, do you want me to put some feelers out? Let me see what's out there. And then that's kind of the level at which the conversations start. My experience has been, again, I'm not in it every day, and I'm not saying it does not happen as an absolute, but my experience has not been that player A is being recruited from University B randomly just because of one good outing.
Right. With that said, obviously this is the time of year where you see people get into the portal. There's obviously a guy or two on the roster who probably have their eye towards getting drafted. We saw where this roster was really whittled down near the end, and you kind of were playing with who you had, dance with who brought you. How much with the roster expansion and, of course, the world of the portal, will we see do you anticipate a far different makeup to the roster, I guess would be the best way to put it, for next season?
Yes. Yeah, short answer. I would expect, and I don't think Coach Godwin's made any bones about it, that there would be some turnover, and, they're going to, do some restructuring. So, yeah, I would absolutely think they would address the deficiencies. And, PJ, I had this thought as you were asking that question. I hope I answered that well enough for you. But going back to, and this is a big part of how kids end up in the portal and the transfer and NIL, there's a wild card factor that has only recently become part of this experience and this exchange of players, and that is the players that have agents and advisors. Now,
sure,
a player that has an agent or advisor, now they can speak on behalf of that player and his family to a university, and if that university reaches out to that advisor, that could be a different situation, right? That's not necessarily going to be improper communication. That's going to be, Patrick Johnson is the agent. I'm at, Anywhere University, and I go, hey, PJ, we're looking for a left-handed hitting shortstop. Who do you have that you're advising? Now, that's a different conversation. So that is probably the more prevalent way this has happened. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with the coach, like literally today, obviously today's, as opposed to National Signing Day, today's National Portal Day, it opens up for spring sports. So I've had a couple conversations, and literally a player, a high-level player, this is not at East Carolina, so nobody try to read in between the lines here, but a high-level player at a university who is most likely a draft pick and a reasonably high draft pick, has been advised by their advisor to go in the portal to create leverage. And that is terribly unfortunate. that is, it's the player doesn't necessarily want to do it to the program that he's played for a number of years, but he's listening to the advice of the advisor, and the advisor's again telling this player to test the waters in the portal, see if maybe you can get a little cash grab, and maybe it'll influence professional baseball to pay you a little more than you were going to be paid. So that's probably the scummiest side of the whole thing.
Mike Mullis with us here. Mully, can you hang through a break maybe?
Yeah. I am. As you know, I'm driving on some back roads, so I'm good to talk as long as you want to. I don't know exactly. I see the pipe for sunlight, so I don't know exactly how far my cell signal would carry me, but I'm yours as long as you'd like.
All right. Tell you what. Hang tight. Pilk will give us a quick update, and then we will come back after a break and resume with Mike Mullis, talk more about the regional down there. There's other things to talk about with Mike as it relates to things going on down there. I wanted him to express some of that to the folks if you did not hear the radio broadcast this past weekend. All right, a timeout. First Pilk, 94.3 The Game Sports Update.
Thank you, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics, unfortunately, the baseball team's season did come to an end at the hands of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers last night, 1-0 after the game. Fifth-year senior Riley Johnson talked about what it meant to play for a man who cares so much about the program as Cliff Godwin does.
The conversations that me and Coach T have had in the office, man, he always just brings me in just to talk, and it's awesome. It's not always baseball. It's always about life too. And I don't know. I'm lost of words right now. It's hitting me pretty hard.
Elsewhere around college baseball, a handful of Game 7s taking place tonight to see who will advance to this weekend's Super Regional. In softball earlier today, Texas knocked off Tennessee. Texas will advance to the Women's College Softball World Series Finals, where they will await either their biggest rival, the Oklahoma Sooners, or former conference foe, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Those two will do battle at 7 o'clock. If the Red Raiders win Game 1, it is over, and it will be Longhorns Red Raiders. If the Sooners are able to take Game 1, they will play approximately 30 minutes after in a winner-take-all Game 7. And elsewhere in athletics, Carolina Hurricanes defenseman Jasper Fost has announced that he will retire after 11 seasons. Fost missed all of this past season with an injury. That'll do it for your 94.3 Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. We're going to take a time out here on the Patrick Johnson Show and be rejoined by Mike Mullis on the other side to talk more about the Conway Regional.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first, and that's why we use CertainTeed shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier, who is CertainTeed. For a job Wells done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins', we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Beep, beep. Move over, Buttercup. We're back to the show.
We're back. And I love them.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, the great Mike Mullis, who was an all-star this weekend on radio coverage on the ECU Sports Network on the Patrick Johnson Show, a Monday exclusive with Mully. We appreciate it. Mike, let me ask you a little bit about the Kevin O'Sullivan deal. I heard you guys, specifically you mentioned the ECU portion of the interaction in the pregame, and then obviously heard a little bit later on what you were starting to kind of pick up on, and a lot of us were as well. We've seen videos released, and again, you know, it's not a video when you slap your logo on somebody else's work. I'm sorry. I'm just that irks me to no end. But I've seen the original sources of these videos. Anyway, my point is the way he conducted himself, and good for Schnall for calling him out, to talk to Mark Scow, for anybody like that, particularly Mark Scow, though, is just disgusting in my mind. And the guy was classless. What additionally do you know, or have you since kind of picked up on that went down?
Yeah, let me kind of preface this, and I certainly don't mind talking about it. First thing I'll say is I really appreciate you leading with the game. I appreciate that we talked about the game first instead of this black eye on such a great ball game. So that first, PJ. Secondly, I also want to say this has absolutely, what happened there has zero bearing over the job that Coastal Carolina did in hosting this, in how they handled this situation, and they ultimately did get involved as, quite frankly, as co-victims. It was a first-class operation, stem to stern. Now, I understand that some of our fans had less than positive interactions with some of their fans, and that was primarily the night game on
But
Saturday.
you know what, Mike? Yeah, that happens, Mike. And I mean, I'm not worried about that. I'm not at all concerned about it. If you don't know how to act, that's your problem.
That's right, especially when you're playing a Saturday night game that gets pushed back to 8 o'clock, and you got two passionate fan bases that are passionate about a multitude of things, but in them are their teams and a good time. So the mixture there was perfect. But I want to say again, I appreciate you putting the spotlight on the game, and I also want to make sure everybody understood that the administration, the folks that we dealt with at Coastal Carolina, could not have been better. They treated us first class. So the situation that occurred with the head coach from University of Florida, which again unfairly comes out being the big story out of this regional, not even, quite frankly, Coastal Carolina's advancing onto a super regional. This overshadows that. It all stemmed from the schedule changes everybody's heard, and quite frankly, Kevin O'Sullivan came into the ballpark like a drunk, angry dad that's come home too late at night and is just looking to rage. And he rolled in the door at the stadium, and he was willing to take on all comers. And there were a number of victims in this situation where he was, quite frankly, he was less than classy, actually classless. He demonstrated exactly who he is, in my opinion, as a person. He showed us where his values, morals, and ethics are. And it was an embarrassment to his university, to his family, to himself, to his program. I will tell you that if I had a child that was looking at going to Florida to play baseball, it would never happen under that Kevin O'Sullivan. It was quite frankly, it was unbelievable. Mark Scaff is one of the finest men you'll ever find. He's a Hall of Fame coach, as you heard Coach Schnall say. He has earned the respect of everybody in the industry. And the fact that he chose to treat Coach Scaff in such a manner, along with some East Carolina players, with directed comments that, quite frankly, we probably don't need to share those. Maybe if somebody wants to catch up face to face, I'll give you the insight that I have. But there was no place for any of what happened. I do understand, after having some additional conversations, that the administration at the University of Florida has asked for the detailed report that was sent to the NCAA from the site administrator, Mark Scaff. I also understand that there are certainly disciplinary actions that I feel like are being contemplated, and I don't think this story is quite over yet. But that'll be something that currently anything that I could say would be speculative amongst a handful of people that are just sharing opinions of giving their thinking
right.
what may happen.
You alluded to this, and that was Coastal Carolina and their hosting of this event, and that was impressive to you for a number of reasons.
Yeah, man. They really made themselves available. I will tell you, I think having the privilege last year to be part of us hosting at home, I feel like East Carolina extends every olive branch that can be extended, every semblance of good sport and of being proud to spotlight and showcase our facilities and program. But I felt Coastal did exactly the same. There wasn't a one-up over East Carolina. I thought it was on par with what would have been done in Greenville, and they just really did. They made people available to you if you needed something. They were happy to go get it. Were there challenges? Sure, PJ, you've done this a lot longer than I have. Every time you go into a press box to connect to Wi-Fi, you start your first challenge, and so it's it goes on and on. What could there have been better snacks? I guess maybe, but for the large part, and it was good, and the atmosphere was as Coach Godwin said, it was truly electric. I mean, it was a great environment. I will tell you, I had kind of quasi contemplated going for the football game coming up this fall. But
right.
I'm in on that trip. I'm in to make that run, and it was just very well done. And I guess I made the statement about the fan interaction because I did see a lot of that on social media.
Well, look, that's going to happen.
That happened, but I hate that happened. But by and large, the experience that we had on the on the professional side of it, it was first class, and Mark Scaff ran a great show. And I'll tell you, if the difference with having Mark Scaff, and people had said, well, this is unprecedented, moving schedules, whatever. Well, Mark Scaff isn't that far removed from being a coach in a regional. He remembers exactly what it's like, and he aired or asked to air on the side of the coaches and players. And remember, he doesn't have the autonomy to just make a schedule change on his own. It has to be approved back into Indianapolis. So, he can take it to them, but they're the ones that ultimately have to rubber stamp it.
All right, a few minutes here left of the show. Let me just have you speak on Riley Johnson. We can speak on Jake Hunter, just some of the Pirates that we know are going to be graduating and moving on.
Man, that's tough. Especially in no specific order, but Riley Johnson, and I think, again, Riley Johnson is not a young man that I've ever spent any amount of time with. I mean, none. Maybe have said hello in passing, but that's it. My admiration comes from how he goes about it. Obviously, the things I hear from the staff, watching him play, watching him practice. He loves the game, and moreover, he accepts the leadership role. One of the coolest things yesterday, and I talked about it during the broadcast, I attribute part of Brad Zayak's success to Riley Johnson. And why I say that is Zayak would walk off the mound, look out into center field. Riley Johnson would bob his head. Zayak would give him a little head bob, and he would go back to the mound and go get it. And I would love to know, because I feel fairly confident there was some conversation that was had before that game started that, hey, man, if you need me, I'm right there for you. Something along those lines. So Riley Johnson will be greatly missed. He will go down as one of my all-time favorite Pirates. And again, all that's based off of watching him play ball. I'd love to have lunch with him or something. But anyway, I mean, you go to Big 20 to Jake. He goes out against Coastal the first time, gives up a 3-run home run. He's kind of pitching in a let's just get out of here situation. I'm sorry, against Florida. No, Florida. Yeah, they're all running together.
Yeah, Florida.
But
yeah,
when he goes back out there and takes the ball against Coastal in that situation, man, I think in my recollection of the season, that's the best I've seen him. And it was with purpose, and it was with knowing I want to give my team a chance to move on. And he did just that. And, man, to bounce back from the brace surgery, the kind of quasi-Tommy John procedure, and get himself available and ready to throw and be so impactful as he was this year, kudos to him, and not enough can be said for and the impact he's had. Dixon Williams, he went through senior day. He's graduated. The draft looks good for him. Local product, man. Dixon, again, another dude that played wherever they asked him to play and did whatever they asked him to do, and was such a big part of this team. And I know we're probably running up against time, and I know I'm missing some guys, but the brain's a little bit fried, man. I've been on go for a while.
We're going to talk to you again probably next week at some point. So just we'll hash that out. We'll figure it out. But, because I think there's still a lot to break down here, and I like your perspective. And who knows where we'll be this time next week. Thank you, Mully. Appreciate it. Drive safe.
Absolutely, buddy. See you soon.
Mike Mullis, what a job he and Dylan Johnson did for the ECU Sports Network in 94.3 The Game. Tomorrow, Wags. Jonathan Wagner Pilk, right? We got Wags tomorrow?
Yeah, no red ears. He did not attend a regional this weekend. Wags is not sunburned.
I still get comments from people talking about how red Wags' ears were this time last year.
It was bad, man.
I was worried. He looked in pain.
He did.
So Jonathan Wagner tomorrow. We'll be back in the morning on Talk of the Town and back here for the PJ Show tomorrow.